franchise that is the crux of why we are fans. The rich, amazing history of a team that reflects the attitude of this town's people and embodies the spirit of everyone sitting in these seats. But when we step back and look, there is one thing that from Philadelphia to Wilmington, from Haverford to Pennsauken, from Westchester to Allentown, cuts through it all and bonds us, every one of us. Every fall, it is the Eagles green that runs through the veins of the young and old, and the divides that exist between races and creeds, rich and poor, the 700 level and the lower bowl are all gone, and we are suddenly one.
And welcome to another fun edition, back for season 2 of AATBirds Fandemonium, where we see the fandom of other individuals and be able to, for them to tell their stories. So special guest tonight, we have DaveO. Listen, Dave, I'm so excited to have you on because the pictures that you shared with me are absolutely fantastic. So it's something I can't wait to get into and get your stories and everything like that. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me, brother, and I'm looking forward to it. Excited to be here.
So my first question, the way I usually start this off is we go and we talk about your first Eagles memory. And it could be anything. But what is your first Eagles memory when you think about the Philadelphia Eagles and Eagles fandom?
Well, it's a family memory. And my dad was born and raised in Philly. My uncles and my grandfather were there. So it was injected in my blood at an early age. For a big part of my life, it's been a curse. More recently, it's been a blessing. And it really goes back to family for me. For me, it's all about family and that thread and that camaraderie that it creates. So that's what it's been about for me.
And that's huge. And a lot of people, they like to bring up the family aspect because that's huge. And, everyone has their different. It's funny because I don't have that. I grew up with somebody who's, my parents weren't the biggest sports fans. My family from the Jersey area, so they were more the Giants. So it was
Right.
like I grew up in that, never liked the Giants. I had an across the street neighbor. The dad was like a 700 level type of personality, rowdy, everything. Eagles party. I was hooked. So
Yeah.
everyone, the family aspect, because he's essentially like a brother to me, and that's like a second father to me. So it's like that aspect is so huge. And like the one thing I want to bring up too is the Super Bowl here. The first Super Bowl they won back in February of 2018, the 2017 season. It was huge because they win that Super Bowl and people, the emotion of thinking about family members who may not have seen that, who have passed on and everything along the lines of that, to then this past season, getting another Super Bowl. What do you think? And there's a question I like to talk to fans about is what did 17 Super Bowl 52 mean to you to what did Super Bowl 59 mean? And was it a different feeling between the two?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. For starters, it was a different feeling because the games were so different. This Super Bowl, to have an entire quarter of football where I was pretty much completely relaxed and in a Zen state it almost didn't seem real. Like I literally was turning to people and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like it felt weird because it was such a blowout for us, which was amazing. I think the first Super Bowl in 2017, obviously you never forget your first, and the emotion of that and the fact that we finally crossed the threshold where we became a competitive organization, that we won a title was just massive, in the modern era. And then to do it a second time, it's almost inexplicable. The run that we've had these last 10 years has been amazing. I mean, we're right in there in the conversation for, best teams of the decade for sure. Because now it's becoming more of a consistent thing. We're putting a winning product out. But it's just been amazing. It's been incredible. I was blessed to be at both Super Bowls. And, this one was just really special for me because I think there was more of an exhale. Like, I can't believe that this happened again. The first time you had that feeling as well. But this one, just the chemistry of the team, the camaraderie between the team and losing Kelsey, obviously, and then still having those leaders. And, it was very, very special.
So, which brings me to my next question here for you is your favorite Eagles memory in general. You can talk about Super Bowls if you want. I try and like before when we did first season 1 of this show, we excluded the Super Bowl win because that would have been everyone's favorite memory.
Yeah.
We can exclude the Super Bowls if you would like, but give me your favorite Eagles memory, and it could be one that, off the grid here that's not really thought about, but what would be your favorite Eagles memory?
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, it's pretty fresh in my mind right now as being a part of that playoff game in the snow this season.
Mhm.
To just be there in that setting and that surroundings, you watch that type of environment, on Madden, when you play Madden or you play, an NFL video game, you think about it on TV. You've seen it happen occasionally, in Buffalo, you've seen those type of games, but to be there in Philly for that game, to be there in the snow, and as close as it was, pretty incredible memory, pretty incredible experience.
So, you talk about experiences and everything like that. We're going to get to your slideshow momentarily here because there's some absolutely great photos that you had shared with me. Next question I have is, who is your favorite Eagle and why? Could be growing up, your first favorite Eagle, whatever, your favorite Eagle and why that is your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many greats, and it's hard to pick one. I'm very lucky, and I'm friends with a lot of the guys, and I've been friends with the guys throughout the years. It's really hard. It's like asking a dad to pick who their favorite kid is. You know what I mean? I have an amazing relationship with Jason Kelsey, and he's just a born leader and such a living legend.
You could be
And then
your favorite Eagle growing up, so it kind of,
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I mean, there were also so many too. We've had so many greats, but Donovan McNabb was somebody that I really, really gravitated towards. Deshaun Jackson, who I've been friends with for a long time, is somebody that was just a special player. But even going back to when I was really little, thinking about Reggie White and how he carried himself and how he was part of a team that wasn't always successful, and how he carried that pride was pretty neat. I actually wear a Reggie White vintage jersey a lot, and I'm pretty superstitious about when I wear it, and we tend to do pretty well when I wear it. And the way that people react when I wear that jersey is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's one thing, that is superstition type of thing. Like during the playoffs, I had this Eagles jacket. That's what I wore. I wore an Eagles jacket. I didn't wear a jersey because that's just what I wore. And I'm like, you know what? That's just what's going to happen. I'm going to wear that. That's what I'm going to wear. And it's funny because like my daughter, like watching, asking she's 9, so asking about the Super Bowl, is the Eagles going to make it, and watching the games with me with the Eagles. And then I'm like, well, the Chiefs, because she's a big Taylor Swift fan. So it's like,
okay,
oh, if Chiefs make it, well, you think I'll see Taylor Swift in the box? I said, I don't know, maybe.
Right.
Well, I hope the Chiefs make it so I can see Taylor Swift. It's just like, it's funny. It's like this super. I really want to, and it's funny because the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs, against the Chiefs, she was just like, oh, okay, the Eagles, rooting for the Eagles and everything, and then this Super Bowl is rooting for the Eagles, and like, but I don't want to see Taylor Swift sad. It's like,
right.
it's okay.
Well, she knows that. She knows Taylor was in a kind of a win-win situation because, Taylor is an Eagles fan. She grew up an Eagles fan. She is an Eagles fan. It's been well documented that she's an Eagles fan. Obviously, for obvious reasons, she's rooting for the Chiefs now. But I think for her, it was probably kind of cool, too, for the Eagles to win. I think if there was a good situation for Taylor, it was to have both teams in it for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's funny, all the different things and the quirks, and everybody is different when it comes to that. And next one would be what is it about the Philadelphia Eagles that make them the best team / fan base in all of football?
I mean, without a question, it's passion. Nobody matches our passion. Nobody is invested in our team as much as this city is. I think that's with, a lot of Philly sports in general. You see it in other cities like Boston and Chicago, and, how people live and die with their teams. But the passion that Eagles have, their fans, I think it's unmatched. I think the players talk about it, the players that play in Philly, the players that leave Philly to go play for other teams. It's passion. It's bar none. It's not even close.
And I think another thing that's pretty interesting to see is when you see the Eagles go on the road and you see the amount of fans that travel. And I'll even just point to the Super Bowl. When they did the introductions and you heard the boos from
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it seems like there's a
Yeah.
lot of it's all the Eagles. And then when Bradley Cooper got on and they did the Eagles chant, all of a sudden the fan base, all the fans finished the chant, and I'm like, whoa, this is an overwhelming, which you can attest to, an overwhelming Eagles crowd.
Yeah, it was really great. And, I think what was cool for us about this year is we weren't the bad guys. We were the good guys. So I
Yeah.
think the entire country was rooting for the Eagles because people were sick of seeing the Chiefs, dominate. Had we played the Bills, it might have been a little bit different. But I think the entire country was on our side, and that was nice to have also. And, for me, I work in entertainment, so to have a lot of friends in entertainment business, big name celebrities and stuff like that were supporting, my team. It was a great feeling.
No, that's always a great thing when you have that. Um, the last thing that I'll ask before we get into the slideshow here is, what's your favorite thing about, I see you on the sidelines, the pictures with the players and stuff. What's the best thing about being able to do that? Going Big Dom, all these guys going to these different places, whatever it is. I know you said you're in LA, you do a lot of things out there, in the industry and stuff like that. What is the most fun, whether it's Eagle stuff or Hollywood wise? What's the most fun in terms of what you do?
I mean, I think for me, the access that I have, I'm incredibly blessed, and it's pretty unprecedented for a normal fan. But the access I have, my relationship with Big Dom and the Eagles in general, the team. I'm close with the O line. I'm close with. I mean, I could rattle off the entire roster, including staff as well. So I'm really, really blessed. And so for me, when I come to Philly, it's like it's a homecoming. And growing up, I grew up in LA, but I spent my summers in Philly. I always say this all the time. I say East Coast people stab you in the front, West Coast people stab you in the back, and I'd rather know what's coming. And that's why I like the East Coast mentality. But that goes for the teams as well. And you know, being able to be in Philadelphia to root for my team with other like-minded fans is the greatest feeling in the world. Because growing up in LA, I would go to Dodger games, and when the Phillies would come to town, I'd be covered in head to toe in Phillies gear, and everyone would be mad at me because they're all rooting for the Dodgers, and it was terrible. But to be able to go to games in Philly with Phillies fans, to be able to go to Eagles games with Eagles fans, Flyers fans at Wells Fargo, and Sixers and Union. I mean, I could go on and on. There's nothing like that feeling for me. So unmatched in all the experiences, all the things I've gotten to do, being part of the Eagles fan base, having the relationship with the organization, it's my favorite thing. It's been a real blessing, like I said.
Yeah, and it's you're a great follow on Instagram and stuff. So it's just, if anyone, we'll get into at the end, get your all your follows and everything like that. So people can follow you because you some awesome stuff. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to go full screen here. So a couple pictures here. If you want to start, I'll go through each one. You can just explain everything here.
So that's Saquon and I during the parade this year. That trophy was made for me by an artist in Medellin, Colombia. His name is Mr. Bling. He makes he usually makes a bedazzled football for me, but this year we wanted to mix it up, and we did a Lombardi, which was really cool, and everybody took to it. People went nuts for it. Cam Jurgens over there in the next photo. Kelsey's hand-picked replacement out of Nebraska. Just a great human being, comes from a great family. He's got his his beef jerky that he makes, which is awesome. And I mean, those two guys right there. Saquon's an incredible family guy as well. Has the cutest kids in the world, and a great fiance. And these guys, the foundation comes from family, and I think that's the theme with this team. They're really close, and they come from great roots.
And it's funny, Saquon just got the key to the city in Allentown, which is literally not very far from where I am and where I grew up. So it's the local ties when you look at that too. Next slide here.
Yeah. So Big Dom is my paisan. He's my brother. I could write books about Big Dom. And that's me and Pete Davidson and Dom. Pete's wearing an art history Big Dom hoodie that we made this year that people went crazy about. That's the original art history one. A lot of people knocked it off, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate. But that's the real OG one. And that was right after the snow game, which I referred to earlier. But Dom's family, he's my brother. He's really the heart and soul of the team, and just one of the best guys that you'll ever meet. And the fans talk about him, the team talks about him. Everyone knows how important Dom is to the Eagles and to the city of Philly. Kelsey there, that was in the coach's locker room before a game. Westbrook is actually somewhere in that photo as well. But like I said, Jason, salt of the earth guy, just a beating heart. We did a lot this year with Operation Snowball, and I was able to bring Pete Davidson to that as well and donate clothing and toys to kids in schools, all the Philly schools. So that was really cool with Connor Barwin and a bunch of the O-line guys. It was awesome. There's Kelsey again. That's his famous outfit that he wore. And then that's Gritty with Dom and I. I was able to take Cooper DeJean and Sidney Brown to a Flyers game this year. We put Cooper on the Zamboni, which was really cool.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I also took Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata earlier in the year. And, we just have fun. And the way that the guys support the other teams is really cool and really special as well. And vice versa, how the other teams support the Eagles. This was really awesome. This was 2 nights after the Super Bowl win. And this was in New York. The guys got to be on the Jimmy Fallon show, on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Saquon and Jalen were there as well, and they did like a really cool skit. But they all wore their Big Dom Art History T-shirts, and they all wore their FOCO overalls, which is really cool. And again, these guys, Lane, Mackay, Cam, Jordan, Landon, the best guys. I really think they're what gets the engine going for the Birds. This season that we had, without them, without that O-line, without Coach Stout, without Saquon, we don't get that Lombardi. So an incredible group of men. This is at Chicky and Pete's with Pete Sr. and Pete Jr. Pete Davidson, Dom, and I just celebrating a win, which was awesome. And there's Landon, who's, Landon's only 24 years old. And his other love, aside from his family and his wife and football, is his lawn. So I always like getting shots of him with lawn in the background and field. He loves turf and he loves grass. Yeah. This one there, that is with the boys again after one of the big wins. And I think on the left, that's my buddy Nico. Just an awesome kid. And, I'm just able to have such a great time when I go to Philly. I've taken Chuck Liddell there. I've taken Michael Buffer there. So Grace O'Malley, the comedian, we've met up at a couple of the games. So just the environment, when people go, they're like, I get this. I understand this. And that was one of the things. Pete's a Giants fan, but when he came to Philly and, saw how we participate in the games, he was very impressed, and he had to respect it.
It's a good thing to know. You always you got to see the other side of it. And listen, I've been to where the Giants play, and it's like a big air conditioner. Not much going on in there.
Yeah, I agree. This was after this was at the Super Bowl post party in New Orleans. Zac Efron and Jeff Ross came, and this is literally 2 or 3 minutes after Sirianni was handed the trophy. So really cool moment there. And then that other photo in the Flyers jersey, that is the 2017, 2018 trophy that I got to spend some time with, and just a cool moment. It's always fun to see the trophy.
Yeah, the trophy is something that, we went to, my daughter and I went on a stadium tour, and they had the trophy out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool to see. And then now you see those pictures and stuff. And I think you posted a picture too of the case. And now it's 2 trophies in there, and you got, a lot more hardware. And it looks, it's fun because growing up, it's like, all the other fans of the other division rivals, we got multiple Super Bowl. You guys only have ring pops.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
In the last century here, last 25 years since the turn of the century, can't really say anything because the Eagles are they're the class of the division. And there's really nothing else. Cowboys fans can dust off their VCR tapes and put them in, but that's about it.
Yeah.
When you look at that and you look at the other teams now, Giants have won 2 recently, but haven't been good for over 10 years now. So,
Yep.
it's when you look at this team and the fan base and the fans and everyone's story, it's absolutely phenomenal. And what you've brought to this show, this episode, has been nothing short of amazing to see everything that you do, with the team, what you do with fans, somebody like me who just, message you and you respond like that. And it's just, I'm very humbled by it. I'm very awesome that you're able to give us the time to be able to share your memories and what you do and, everything like that. And that's why I want to give you anything you got going on, where people could follow you, and, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm on DaveO Philly pretty much across all platforms. And I just love supporting Philly and anybody that has anything to do with Philly. Years ago, I started doing a lot of stuff with Jordan Spector, who's a local Philly artist. I love supporting Jordan and, connecting him with people and with the teams and everything. That goes for, my restaurants that I go to, Tacanelli's and Angelo's and Sarducci's and, Collegeville Italian Bakery and, Uncle Gus's and all these places that treat me so well and treat me like family. And, I work with a lot of the local artists and a lot of the guys that are making shirts. Like I mentioned Art History, and then there's Drew from Philly Sports Shirts, and there's, Die Hard Philly, which is another really cool brand. And I'm always wanting to support, the city and support the people. And I love the grit and I love the grind and I love everything that you're doing. And, keep it up. It's an awesome thing.
I appreciate it. And, with that, we always end the show with a good Go Birds. So, with this episode of Fandemonium, make sure you check out. We're going to have more of this coming off season. So make sure you're always checking out. And all we end it with,